Hi everyone, it's Miss Price, and today we're talking about smiley face tricks. We're going to talk about full circle endings. Now we're going to take some notes on full circle endings. Let's get our spiral and computers set up. So if you're let's start by first talking about what smiley face tricks are. Remember that smiley face tricks are those tools that good writers are using in order to capture the reader. Smiley face tricks helps the reader get engaged in the writing, to enjoy it at a deeper level, to be connected to it. It causes the reader to want to keep going and to read more. Smiley face tricks are a great way to provide imagery, help the reader kind of imagine and picture and see and hear all the things that you are as a writer, kind of attends to those sensory details. And it also provides a way to show and not tell. Remember, we don't want to tell our readers things, we want to show them things. And that's what smiley face tricks do for us. There are 8 different types of tricks. Today we're going to talk about full circle ending. We'll look at those other 7 tricks on another day. So let's get ready to take notes in our spiral or our computer. Let's write down this definition. What a full circle ending is really in the end of a piece, we're going to repeat something that came from the beginning of our piece. We're going to come back to a word, a phrase, or an idea that we saw at the beginning that we wanted to repeat again. Now we need to make sure that we're choosing an idea or a phrase that's worthy of being repeated, because that ending is the last thing that our reader remembers, and so we want to make sure that it's memorable. And so we want to pick something worthy of being repeated. We're going to take a look at some examples right now and see kind of how that full circle ending works. Now this first example I got out of the Kansas City Star, and I chose this one because I wanted you to see how this could happen in a newspaper article. So the very first paragraph of this newspaper article started off like this. The reach for health and fitness sometimes seems like that crazy whack-a-mole game the little kids play. Just as you swing away at one little foam mole, that one disappears and another one pops up. You flail away foolishly, the moles mock you. And then the article went on and talked about health and fitness issues that it wanted to discuss. And then the very last paragraph of that article said this. So you see, if you keep whacking at the mole, you score a direct hit every now and then. So one of the things I want you to notice is that with a full circle ending, at the end of the article, they didn't go back to the beginning and repeat it word for word. They kind of went back to just the essence of it. They went back to an idea that came from the beginning, and they reminded us of that idea in the end. So kind of that whack-a-mole and hitting it and so on. So the idea of that was repeated in the end, not the whole entire beginning of the article. Let's look at another example. This one came from an argumentative essay. In the very first introductory paragraph, the first part of that paragraph said, a cigarette is a hidden stick of dynamite with a slowly burning fuse. The dynamite may take a long time to ignite, and until it does, nothing seems to be in danger. Now, she did a good job of using a metaphor here, showing us that a cigarette and a stick of dynamite are exactly the same if they're lit. They're both very dangerous. Now, the end of her paper, in that concluding paragraph, she returned to the essence of that beginning. And she said, while a cigarette is like a hidden stick of dynamite that could destroy many people's lives, it can only be harmful if someone lights the fuse in the first place. So again, we're going back to the essence. We're going back to that idea that a cigarette and dynamite are the same, but you don't have to light them. And if you don't, they're not going to hurt anybody. So it's a good way of doing that full circle ending. Another example came in a narrative. Now this one, again, a full circle ending can be used in any type of writing. It can be an expository or a narrative or argumentative. Obviously, we're going to see full circle endings everywhere. So in this one, she started off her narrative with rookie, beginner, freshman, newcomer. Call it what you want, but I was definitely the new kid on the block. I was a first year teacher, but I was determined to act like an expert. I was a professional in the classroom, and I would hit nothing less than home runs. No strikeouts allowed in my classroom. At least this was the idea up until I met the curveball that I couldn't seem to hit. So again, this is a great metaphor. She's talking about baseball. She's referring to herself in baseball terms. And so it's a really great introduction. It captures our attention, draws us in, and makes us want to know what she's talking about. The very end of her paper ended like this. I had to face the facts. I was a rookie, and I had struck out to the stapler. But I decided to bounce back and step up to the plate again. And again, she's repeating the essence of the beginning. She did not repeat it word for word. We don't hear the same thing over, but we get the idea, the gist of what she was talking about in the beginning. We still have that very same metaphor. Now, we have some reminders I would like you to put in your spiral or on your computer. And one of those reminders is don't repeat that introduction word for word in your conclusion. You're returning to just an idea of the introduction. You're going back to a phrase that is in the introduction. And remember, you're going back to something that is worthy of being repeated. The conclusion is the last thing they're going to remember. So that ending needs to be memorable. It needs to bring your paper to a close. It needs to draw us to a closure where we get to say, okay, the paper is now finished. But it needs to be memorable. So don't start your paper in an unmemorable way, because you have to leave your paper in a very memorable way. Now, I can't actually ask you to just go out and practice this right now. It really needs to be practiced when you're writing a paper. So the next time you're writing a paper for a teacher, no matter what the class is, or even if you're writing a paper for yourself, try a full circle ending out, because it's a great trick to use to have a memorable beginning and a memorable conclusion. All right, thanks and good luck.